All right, this may be the hardest thing I have ever done on this channel. In my sea of chairs, which I just realized, I love movies. I have a hard time deciding what my favorites are. And so as of July 2020, these are my 10 favorite movies. Number 10, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. This is directed by Edgar Wright, based off of the graphic novel series. This movie blew me away. It is the best video game movie. It's arguably one of the best comic book movies if you count this. It's not a Marvel or whatever, but it is a nerd's dream. It's got video game references. It's got comic book references. It is cute. It's funny. Edgar Wright's direction is out of this world, which is nothing new. The editing is amazing. Watch this movie. It is a musical comedy drama, coming of age, indie rock, video game comic book movie. There is a niche audience, and I am there for it.
Lady likes Scott Pilgrim. Yeah.
She's shaking her head. Yeah, I love Scott Pilgrim. Number 9 is completely different. Almost all of these movies have nothing in common. Number 9 is Team America, which is made by the guys who made South Park. This came out in 2004. All you have to say is that puppet movie, and everyone knows what you're talking about. Team America is, I will fight to the death that this is one of the best satires made recently. It satirizes the war on terror, Michael Bay movies, action movies in general. Some of the jokes didn't age very well. Others are still fantastic. On top of that, it's a musical. Kim Jong-il has a song that could have been nominated for Best Original Song. I love this movie so much. It is so stupid. Number 8 is No Country for Old Men, directed and written by the Coen brothers. This one, Best Picture, Best Screenplay, Best Director. It took all of the Oscars that also could have gone to There Will Be Blood, which is very similar. But I love this movie mainly because it changed my life. The scene where Josh Brolin is sitting in his hotel room and you see the light go out underneath the door and it's dead silent. I remember watching that in the movie theater saying, this is what I want to do. And I fell in love with movies and I knew I wanted to mess with cameras for the rest of my life. And I do that, and it's super cool. And I have No Country for Old Men to thank for that. Number 7 is, again, something completely different. There's Something About Mary. If no one has seen this movie, I love to be next to them and watch this with them. On the surface, you think, oh, this is just, it's a 90s romantic comedy with Cameron Diaz and Ben Stiller. No, this movie is disgusting. It's repulsive. It's juvenile, and it's hilarious. I've never laughed harder in a movie than There's Something About Mary. This movie is just funny. My arm is hurting from me holding this phone. Number 6, Airplane. The jokes per second in this movie is unholy. These jokes don't get old. It's a fast watch. The jokes coming at you like freaking fire. I love it. I love Airplane. As a kid, I could not stop quoting this movie. I still quote it almost daily. People hate me because of it. That's okay. Airplane is amazing. Moving on. Number 5, The Producers. Directed and written by Mel Brooks. This movie made Mel Brooks who he is. Everyone knows who Mel Brooks is because of The Producers. He won Best Original Screenplay when it came out. Mel Brooks eventually made a Broadway show, a Broadway musical about this, and won a bunch of Tonys for that. And then they made a movie based off of the musical that's based off of the original movie. That's confusing. So what makes this movie great is it was one of the first movies to satirize a horrible, horrible, horrible person. And that's Adolf Hitler. Mel Brooks is a Jewish man, thought, well, the best way to take down fascism is to ridicule it. Just poke fun at it. Look how ridiculous this is. That idea of just ridiculing people in power is the most American thing you can possibly do. And also, it's still going. We got SNL because of this. You can't tell me that Springtime for Hitler didn't influence Lorne Michaels and SNL and National Lampoon. Number 4, Goodfellas. Scorsese's best movie in my opinion. Anytime this movie is on, I have to finish it. No matter where it is, I gotta watch Goodfellas. This is another movie where I watched as a kid and I realized how much I love movies And it just has a special place in my heart. On top of that, it's super entertaining. Number 3 is my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, Inglourious Bastards. Say what you want about Quentin Tarantino as a person, because he's not the best person, but my goodness, that opening 30 minutes of just dialogue, I will fight to the death that Inglourious Bastards is one of the best written movies in a very, very long time. There's only like 5 scenes in this whole movie, and every single one is just taking a rubber band and just stretching the tension. It's fantastic. Number 2, another Coen Brothers movie, my favorite Coen Brothers movie, Fargo. This is a special place in my heart as well. I grew up in Texas, and when I turned 13, my parents said, hey, we're moving to Minnesota. And they said, hey, let's see how Minnesotans act. Let's pull up Fargo. This movie is so accurate when it comes to people in Minnesota. They are ridiculously nice. Even just regular people you'll see at a grocery store. They go, hi, how are you? Oh, that's just super. The Coen Brothers grew up in Minnesota, so that makes sense. Frances McDormand's performance, honestly, one of the best performances. Fargo's screenplay is just, everything pays off. It's very mystical. It's like a fairy tale almost, but in Minnesota. The moral is good prevails over evil. And who doesn't like that? Also, it spawned the TV series Fargo, which is just as good as the movie. But man, I love the Coen Brothers. I almost put The Big Lebowski on this list, but I thought 3 Coen Brothers movies is a bit too much. You want to tell them what my number 1 is? My number 1 is The Social Network, which I've already talked about in the best of the decade, but The Social Network is a perfect movie. The script, the editing, the acting. Michael had a good point. He said, this is just Citizen Kane again, which it kind of is, and that explains why it's so perfect. Again, I already talked about this, but it's my number 1. It will always be my number 1. The Social Network is a perfect movie. That is my top 10 as of July 2020. I'll probably change my mind about this as I'm editing it. Maybe Tenet will be on my number 10 if that ever comes out. If we ever go to a movie theater ever again, I'm calling it now. Tenet's gonna be my 10th favorite. Maybe not.